I woke up bleeding, and the people who took my kidney were gone. No voices, no footsteps, just the wet heat soaking through my bandages and the hollow echo of an empty penthouse. 3 days ago, surgeons cut a living organ out of my body to save my father's life. Now he had disappeared, so had my sister, so had my medication, so had the wheelchair I needed to stand. They didn't leave a note. They didn't leave a nurse, they didn't even leave me water. They left me to die quietly in a luxury apartment they were paying for with my blood. I tried to sit up. A white-hot blade ripped through my side and knocked the air out of my lungs. I collapsed forward, clawing at the sheets, biting back a scream. My stitches were tearing. I slid off the bed and hit the floor, crawling, dragging, smearing red across polished wood. I finally reached my phone under the couch and unlocked it with shaking fingers. One notification, Instagram, from my sister. Touchdown Aspen, snowflake, dad's recovery getaway, number grateful. I stared. Private jet, ski resort, champagne flutes. My father alive because of me, smiling in a luxury lodge while I lay bleeding on the floor. They didn't even wait for me to heal. They just took what they needed and left. That's when the truth finally snapped into place. I wasn't a daughter, I was inventory, I was the spare parts kid. The one they called when something broke. My name is Daisy, I'm 32. And my family only loves me when something inside me belongs to them. That's why, just before surgery, my father signed one paper without reading it. He made me temporary controller of the family trust. He thought I was harmless. The quiet one, the responsible one, the girl who always said yes. He didn't realize people like me don't say yes, we get used. I dragged myself onto the couch and opened my laptop. The account loaded. A balance with more zeros than I could process. And the first alert appeared. Pending charge, $24,800, Aspen Elite Ski Club. They were drinking imported champagne while I was bleeding without painkillers. I marked the charge as fraud. The system spun, then stopped. Review pending, estimated 5 minutes. My heart pounded. If it didn't clear before they swiped again, they'd get the money. I opened the flight bookings. 3 first-class tickets home. My finger hovered over cancel, then my phone buzzed. Dad's phone, incoming call. He'd gotten a fraud alert. I declined it, canceled the flights. The confirmation email hit a second later. They were now stuck in Aspen with no return tickets and a frozen card. Then I moved fast. My sister's luxury SUV, parked at the airport under the trust, was worth a small fortune. I sold it at emergency price. The money hit the account. And just like that, I booked a private medical team to come to me because I wasn't going to die so they could ski. My phone buzzed again. Declined Aspen Club, declined hotel bar, declined car rental. Somewhere in a 5-star restaurant, a waiter was probably holding my father's black card and shaking his head. And for the first time since the surgery, I smiled. They thought I was weak. They were wrong. Because what I did next didn't just take their money, it made sure they could never run from me again. They didn't apologize. They didn't ask if I was alive. They came back to erase me. 12 hours after I froze their money, my front door was kicked in so hard the frame cracked. The sound ripped through the apartment like a gunshot. Wood splintered across the floor. I was in a wheelchair by the foyer, an IV line taped to my arm, blood still seeping through my bandages. The private nurse stepped in front of me. "Back up," she warned. But the people rushing in weren't strangers. They were family. My father burst through first, pale and furious, his designer ski jacket stained with travel grime. His eyes burned with panic and rage. My sister followed close behind, shaking, clutching her phone like it was a shield. "You selfish little leech," she hissed. "You left us freezing in Aspen?" I didn't raise my voice. I lifted the folder from my lap. "I'm revoking your access to the trust," I said. "Everything is being liquidated. You're done." My father laughed, not loud, not angry, cold. "You think you're in control," he said. "You think you were ever more than spare parts?" Then he stepped aside. 2 uniformed police officers entered. My stomach dropped. "There she is," my father said, instantly switching to a weak, trembling tone. "She stole everything while I was in surgery. The drugs have made her unstable." "That's not true," I said. "I'm the trustee." My sister shoved her phone toward them. "She threatened us," she said. "She said she'd ruin us if we didn't give her money. We were scared for our lives." The officers looked at me, pale, sweating, surrounded by pill bottles and IV tubing. They didn't see a donor, they saw a junkie. "Ma'am," one officer said, "stand up." "I can't," I whispered. "I just had surgery." "Stand up." My father had played his nuclear card, elder financial abuse. That meant instant arrest. They unhooked my IV. The needle burned as it came out. They pulled my arms behind me. The metal cuffs snapped shut. Pain tore through my stitches like fire. I cried out. My father watched with a faint smile. That's when a memory crashed through me, 12 years old, sitting in the back seat of his car, my arm broken, tears running down my face while he finished a business call. "Don't be selfish," he'd said. "Pain is mental." This wasn't new. This was the system. I wasn't a daughter. I was inventory. As they dragged me toward the door, my hand brushed the inside of my jacket. The flash drive was still there. They hadn't found it. Yet. My sister waved from the doorway, holding my apartment keys. "Don't worry," she said sweetly. "We'll take good care of your place." The door slammed. I was shoved into the back of the police car. The plastic seat was cold and smelled of disinfectant. Blood from my side smeared against it as the door locked. Sirens wailed. And as the car pulled away, the man living off my kidney walked back into my home like he owned it. They thought they had taken everything from me. They had no idea what I was still carrying. They framed me. They stole my house. But they also walked straight into the one place where their secrets were stored, and now those secrets were about to wake up. The interrogation room was built to make you feel guilty before you ever spoke. Concrete walls, a metal table bolted to the floor, the smell of bleach mixed with old coffee. My wrists were cuffed to the table. Every breath pulled at the stitches in my side. Blood soaked through my bandages. No one offered help. They weren't here to heal me. They were here to break me. The door opened. A detective walked in, tie loose, eyes tired, carrying a thick folder. He dropped it on the table. Photos slid out, my sister's SUV on a tow truck, frozen bank accounts, transaction logs. "Grand theft," he said. "Identity fraud, elder abuse." "I donated my kidney to that man," I said. "He's not a victim." He didn't look at me. "To the city," he said. "He's a hero, and you're a drugged-out daughter who robbed him while he was unconscious." He slid a single document toward me. "Sign this," he said. "Restore the trust. Your father will tell the DA to go easy, rehab instead of prison." It was a confession dressed as kindness. My father didn't want justice. He wanted his money back before the transfers cleared. "You didn't run my background," I said quietly. He scoffed. "You live off your family?" "No," I said. "I'm a forensic risk analyst. I investigate financial fraud." That made him pause. "I sold the car legally," I continued. "Every dollar went into escrow. There's a paper trail." I leaned forward, chains clinking. "You're interrogating the wrong person." The door opened again. My father rolled in a wheelchair, wrapped in a hospital blanket, playing the part of the fragile survivor. My sister followed, eyes red, expression carefully devastated. "Oh, Daisy," my father murmured. "The medication is making you imagine things." He leaned close enough for only me to hear. "Your hard drive," he whispered. "Serafina found it, microwave, drill, ash." My stomach went cold. He straightened and turned to the detective. "There's no evidence," he said gently. "My daughter is sick. If she signs the trust back, I won't press charges." The detective looked at me. "No files, no proof, just their story. Book her," my father said. "I have a flight to catch." I laughed, low, sharp. "You destroyed the laptop?" I asked. "To dust," my father whispered. "Good," I said, "because the evidence isn't on the laptop." The room froze. "It's inside you." My father's smile twitched. I turned to the detective. "My father runs a $50 million charity fraud," I said. "Fake clinics, shell companies, medical donation laundering. The DOJ has been tracking it for months." Silence. "I didn't give him my kidney to save him," I continued. "I gave it to keep him alive long enough to testify." The door opened. 4 FBI agents walked in. "Robert Hayes," the lead agent said, "you are under arrest." My father's face collapsed. As they cuffed him, I leaned close. "I planted life inside you," I whispered, "so it could grow into a prison sentence." They were taking my father away, but my sister was still inside my home, and she was about to learn what I'd hidden there. My sister thought she had won. She had my apartment, my keys, my father's approval. She didn't know she was standing inside a crime scene that was about to wake up. While the FBI took my father away, Serafina walked through my penthouse like it already belonged to her. She kicked off her boots, poured herself a drink, and laughed into her phone. "It's over," she said. "She's done. Dad's free." She was wrong. Behind the painting in my office was a small steel wall safe. She knew about it. She always knew where I hid things, that's why she went straight for it. She pried it open and found exactly what she expected. Empty shelves, burned plastic, ash. She smiled. Then her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "You missed one?" Her smile faded. The fire alarm went off. Not smoke, security. The apartment doors locked. The lights shifted red. A pre-recorded voice filled the penthouse. "Welcome, Serafina." She froze. "You always said I was boring," my voice said through the speakers. "You said I didn't matter unless you needed something from me." Screens lit up. Every TV, every tablet, every wall panel, footage of offshore accounts. Shell companies. Fake clinics, and her face, signing documents, wiring money, smiling for donors. Her phone buzzed again. "You should run." She tried the door, locked. She tried the balcony, sealed. The building's private security system had been transferred to my name before she even arrived. Her phone rang. It was me. "Enjoying my house?" I asked. "You set me up," she screamed. "No," I said calmly. "I recorded you." Her voice cracked. "I'll tell them everything," she said. "I'll say you forced me." "Already thought of that," I replied. "That's why the cameras caught you admitting it." Silence. Then sirens, not the police, federal. She sank to her knees. "Please," she whispered. "I begged too," I said. "Remember?" The doors unlocked. Agents poured in. Her phone slipped from her hand. As they cuffed her, one of the screens froze on a final message. Inventory closed. They thought they destroyed the evidence. They didn't realize the house itself was the hard drive. They called it justice, courtrooms, headlines, numbers so big they didn't feel real. But justice never felt that way to me. Justice felt like silence. Weeks after the arrests, I was finally back in my apartment. The walls had been cleaned. The doors repaired, the screens turned off, but nothing looked the same. The place where I almost died was now just another room. I moved slowly. My scar still burned when I walked. The kidney was gone, but the pain remained. I opened the medicine cabinet. The painkillers were still there. I flushed them. I didn't want numbness anymore. I wanted to remember. Because remembering is how you keep people from doing it again. My father's foundation had been dismantled. Every account seized, every shell company exposed. My sister was facing decades. The news called me a hero. I didn't feel like one. I felt like someone who finally stopped being useful. I sat down on the couch where it all started and looked at the scar across my side. It wasn't a wound. It was a receipt. It proved something had been taken, something that was never given freely. My phone buzzed, a message from the FBI. "We secured the final testimony. He's pleading." Good. I didn't want him dead. Dead people don't answer questions. I walked to the window and looked down at the city. Somewhere out there were people just like me, quiet, reliable, invisible, being used by people who smiled in public and stole in private. They don't need heroes, they need records, proof, receipts. I turned back to the hidden panel in the wall. Behind it, servers still hummed. The house was never just my trap, it was my archive. I smiled, because the truth doesn't need revenge. It just needs somewhere safe to live. If you've ever been used, ignored, or broken for someone else's benefit, remember this: even scars can become evidence.